We are back here now on the show to talk some more about one of the weirdest chain of events reactions that happened since 2018 2019. That is Todd Gurley. A crazy situation with him, one of the most impactful ones if you look back on it now, that happened in NFL history, in my opinion, because to give some context on this situation, from 2017 through 2018, Todd Gurley was on an absolute tear. He was on a different level, scoring 40 touchdowns in those 2 years for the Los Angeles Rams, 19 in 2017 and also 2021 in 2018. And after being drafted in 2015, the success, the get back, the production from drafting him for the Los Angeles Rams was pretty significant. After winning the Offensive Player of the Year in 2017, and then earning that extension, because I do say earn because after putting up those numbers the last 2 years, winning Offensive Player of the Year, at the time nobody could really dispute Todd Gurley getting that type of money because he 100% earned it. He was pretty much the entire Los Angeles Rams offense and why they were so successful. So he earned all of that 4 year, $57.5 million extension, $14 million and some in per year salary. And it's crazy to say that now because nobody outside of maybe two players are making that for running backs. But after that 2017 year, the knee injuries is really what started to deteriorate Todd Gurley in his NFL career. Because after that, after being there, some spotty performances with the Los Angeles Rams, 2019 rolled around after he got that extension, and it was a weird time because Todd wasn't really playing. Nobody really knew what his status was. The Rams were keeping it hush pretty much from their standpoint, and it was just odd because Todd Gurley either was 100% or not. Someone was hiding something, but then more facts came to light, and it came to a point where the Rams obviously decided not to keep him. They released him after 2 years on that contract, and from then on, he went to play for the Atlanta Falcons. That didn't go too well, and then since then, we haven't seen or heard too much about Todd Gurley or anything, which is crazy to say because he's only 29 years old. He could definitely still be playing now, and people would have wanted more answers, and he did provide a little more insight on what he's been doing, what his mindset was during this time. He recently appeared on the 2510 podcast show with LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson, and he basically described what happened after the Los Angeles Rams cut him after that year, to which he said, I kind of had to see what they were talking about for real because I played in Georgia, so that one happened, and I was like, the season was sorry, and then after that, it was like, all right, bro, I live in Los Angeles, I'm chilling, I've done everything. Of course, I would love to have a ring and stuff like that, but he said it truly came down to the fact that if he had played again, scoring 10 touchdowns or scoring 0 touchdowns, it really wouldn't have satisfied him or really affected him either way. He wouldn't have gone too low if he did bad, or he wouldn't have it wouldn't have satisfied him if he had another crazy year, is basically how I interpreted it. And you think about that and the $45 million guaranteed that Todd Gurley got at the time, and you compare it to now, and those numbers are just astronomical, a dream for running backs now to get from that point on. And NFL teams don't want to run the risk anymore. And I really wanted to bring that up with this segment, outside of Todd Gurley commenting more on what he's been up to and just what his mindset was during that time on the 2510 show, which you could go check out and listen more about it. I wanted to point out the fact that since that time, how this contract really has affected the running back market has been so significant, so impactful, because like I mentioned, $45 million guaranteed to Todd Gurley is a dream for any running back now, I guess outside of Christian McCaffrey. But back then, it seemed like Todd Gurley was really opening the door to paying some of these running backs maybe a lot more money. It seemed like with what he produced on the field, it almost could have been the turning point, the breakthrough that these running backs needed to start getting paid a lot more if Todd Gurley and his situation didn't end up like they did. That was the worst possible scenario for the running back market, because instead of taking it very high and at a very point of view where they had a lot of success, it went completely left and it went worse because he got injured. the Rams invested so much into him with the knee injury now. Now they're having second thoughts about it, running the risk of paying him so much. They cut him, and now that paints a bad picture for them. Why the heck did they pay him so much? Now is what people are thinking, and now nobody wants to run that risk anymore. Kelsey, how you doing, Kelsey? Welcome to the show. And also, just on that point, teams don't want to run the risk anymore. If you think about it, like I mentioned before, Todd Gurley could very much continue to still be playing. He could still be playing right now, and if his career took a different trajectory, if he, continued to get better, explode more so after 2018 into 2019, and continued to produce at that level, the running back market could be in such a different position right now. But you could almost think about it as if I don't know how many of you guys have seen Split or Steal, that game show, but it's almost like Todd Gurley decided to steal instead of split with the rest of the running backs that followed after him or currently alongside him that played, and he decided to steal and just took all the winnings for himself, and then after that point, it was never the same for the running backs. That's what it seems to me. That's the best analogy that I can come up with, because it's so crazy how just one turn of events, how one injury could now change the whole landscape of this running back market, because now teams are afraid of that scenario, overpaying for a running back. And unless you're 200% sure you have a Christian McCaffrey on your team, no one's going to pay close to $15 million per year for a running back. Alvin Kamara's got that, but now he runs the risk of getting released by the Saints, other than the fact that the Saints have a bad salary cap situation. But they're really the only team. Nobody else is giving running backs $15 million per year, $14, $16 million per year. It's almost an anomaly for anybody to do that. Ramondre Stevenson just got his deal, and instead, just comparing it to Todd Gurley got $45 million guaranteed, and Ramondre Stevenson got around $30 million less guaranteed, $17 million guaranteed to be specific in his new deal. So a huge drop off from what it is now. And it just almost does make sense, not to bash on NFL and just put all the blame on them. It does make sense because the running backs are required to do a lot. So much of the workload goes on the running backs, but you'd want to see them get paid for doing that. But again, teams are, I don't want to say taking advantage of them fully, but it almost just seems unfair with how much they do, with how much some of these great running backs do in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey, I'll throw Najee Harris in there, 100%. Him, Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara even as well. Where would the Saints be without Alvin Kamara on their team? Those sort of guys, what they do for their offenses, teams are not really paying them accordingly, and it seems unfair, again, with just how crazy the situation turned out with Todd Gurley. And really, until there's a period of running backs dominating, staying healthy for a long period of time, I don't think we're going to see much of a change from this. I just don't think we are. It seems like running backs, the idea is that they slow down around 29, 30 years old, unless you're this freak like Derrick Henry or something like that. And also the NFL being more of a pass-heavy league, being more favored towards the quarterbacks. You see how much money they're getting paid, and that's a different conversation with, how much does Trevor or any of these other quarterbacks making $50 million per year. Some of them that are in that range, are they worth more, or they do as much for their team as a Christian McCaffrey or something like that? Different discussion, but the NFL just favors the quarterbacks more, pass-happy league. If you don't have a great quarterback, you don't really have a chance at all, so they're getting all the money. All the money's going towards them, and it stinks for the running backs, but, if you just think about that one point in time, if it would have turned out completely different, we could be looking at a different market, not too much differently because of, the quarterback is still the most important position in the NFL, but I think running backs would have definitely been paid a little bit better than they are right now. But, it is what it is. We could talk about hypotheticals all day long, so I'll leave that topic there. Who's your favorite team? I'm a Steelers fan. I have been for a while. I've been riding some of the highs and definitely a lot of the lows with them. So I'm a Steelers fan, if you guys were wondering. But on that topic, on that idea, we're going to go to the last break of the show. And when we return, we're going to get more into a discussion. What did Mike Tannenbaum, the former general manager of the Jets, current analyst at ESPN, What did he say about Jordan Love? High praise for him, but was it too high? Are we playing too much, putting too much expectations on Jordan Love after one good year, one very solid year? I'll give you guys my point of view on that topic, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast.